And so after I finished working on this, I was still fascinated by Hong Kong, because there is not just building in Hong Kong, there is many other elements which I love in the city, and I wanted to document it. So another approach of this of documenting this city was to record the building, but also what is around the building. Like for me, what is also another thing which contrasts a lot with where I come from is the way all the city is so near, like the water and the nature. So it's like you have like those kind of totally green mountains just next to very tall buildings, and so that's why I wanted to illustrate this kind of surreal feeling of which for me doesn't look like normal at all, like coming from Paris. So I started working on the blue moment. So which documented, I mean, which is more exploring like the way this city looks surreal in my eyes, and I choose to shoot exclusively during that small moment after the sun is set and before the night. You have around 10 minutes, which is, it's called the blue hour, but it actually doesn't last 1 hour, at least not in Hong Kong. It's more like 5 to 10 minutes. It starts to get dark, but basically the principle is just that the white light from the sun is being diffracted, and there is only the blue color that goes through the atmosphere at that time. So the blue sky is the dark blue sky is being reflected on everything which is colorless in the city. So basically you can see it quite clearly here. All the blue area here are the colorless part of the city, like white wall, black wall, gray wall are the one reflecting the best the blue color, and the rest, like some red walls, still remain kind of red, I mean, kind of keep their own colors. So I really love the way it makes the city looks even more surreal, and it was matching my intention of showing how crazy is this city for me. So it's actually funny because this photo was originally not included in my body of work in the blue moment, because my way of taking photos is I like to work I like to create body of work which are very consistent, and it has good aspect and bad aspect, because basically I was really looking for this kind of cityscape where basically you can almost don't see the sky, notice the sky, or very more detailed shot and more abstract shot where you really see basically I like the way the architecture and the cityscape behind just make it look very abstract and graphic. You hardly understand what is in front, what is behind. It looks almost two-dimensional. So that's what I was looking for while doing this book. And so I focused basically myself on recording these tall buildings next to the harbor. Like you also have another one just behind you, which is showing the sea and also even the small island and mountains at the back. So you have really the three elements that are composing Hong Kong: the tall buildings, the sea, and the nature, the mountains and the forest. And I also have another aspect of Hong Kong, which is the density of the city, but in a very non-uniform way. Like if you see all these buildings, all of them are kind of different. There is no like repeat here. There is many parts of the city where there is a lot of repeat, but in the older district you have all these buildings have been built years after years, not simultaneously, and so it creates a very interesting patchwork of architecture, which I find very symbolic of Hong Kong. So I wanted to show this aspect, and also the crazy non-uniform city, and also the proximity of the sea and the proximity of the forest. And because of this very narrow vision, let's say, I didn't include this one because it's like it's more open, and you understand directly what you are looking at, but still looking back at it like a few months ago only, I felt like actually it's very worth looking at, and it's really that's the good thing of this photo. It shows the whole city in one picture,
and the layers,
and
right?
and the layer, like, and you have actually a bit all of the element I'm talking about. It's like it's a mashup, everything all together. You have all the dense city, like here, like the high residential public estate. Here is like more like the older district, Caroll city, so the Tong Lao, and of course at the back you recognize the skyline of Hong Kong, so the very central district with the business towers, and you still can recognize like the shapes of the mountain out behind the city, but also inside the city, like, and some of the hills are even used for doing some kind of symmetry, exactly. So yeah, you have really basically all the city summarized in one shot, which that's why I felt like this photo was worth showing during this exhibition.
Also, I have a question. The pearl paper, is it the pearl paper that really brings out this glow?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, for the choice of the print, we printed all the Blue Moment series on a special pearl paper, which has a special glow. I mean, which is very good for reflecting those kind of light. And so, if you look a bit at it, I mean, you see the reflection is not just the reflection of light on it is not just pure glossy paper. It has a little bit, basically, the texture of a pearl. Like, and so it really brings a little bit of shininess, which is matching with those kind of all those lights in the city. So yeah, it's also something that I learned through the time and working with Sarah and Lotus galleries. After you've done the photo, it's great, but you need to consider it's very important to consider which paper, because which paper you are going to use, and also which kind of framing, because each photo is meant to be printed in one way, and like this photo printed on a matte paper, like without any shininess, it will make it look more dull, and it wouldn't work as good. While other photos that I did outside wouldn't work with this kind of pearl paper. So yeah, thank you for asking about that. So now these two works, the Blue Moment and the Vertical Horizon, were the two body of works which was more focused on, let's say, the architecture and the large aspect of the city. And but through the years, I also discovered the more, I mean, put my focus on the more details, small details in the city. So it's all over there. So I think we will have to move on to the next room.